Alright, so we proceed with our question. So this is question 3. That is from some past papers. Yeah, you can just compare the question and you can find that past paper if you want to go through. Okay, or you can just pause the video and use the same question. You can try to answer this one using the knowledge that we did in the first video and the second. Yeah, you can use that one. Okay, so let's see how we can answer this question now. So the question says, so the frequency table below shows the number of copies of newspapers allocated to 48 newspaper vendors. Okay, so there are two things that you need to focus on here. So we are talking about copies of newspapers, right? And vendors for newspapers. Okay, and then when you check the first table here, okay, we have copies of newspapers. That is the first row. Okay, so showing the range for the copies, there are those who had between 25 and 30 copies, 30 and 35. Okay, and then we have frequency. Okay, that is number of vendors, how many had copies of newspapers between 25 and 30. There were 5. And then those who had between 30 and 35 copies, there were 4. Okay, so this is our frequency, right? And so the question, that is question A, says calculate the standard deviation. Okay, so how do we calculate the standard deviation? Well, to calculate the standard deviation, first you need to calculate the mean. Okay, because you need to look at the things you need for you to calculate that standard deviation. Look at the formula here. Let's check here and see what we need. So this is the formula that we use to calculate the standard deviation, right? Now check what is in this formula. So we have look at what is inside. Okay, when you check what is inside here, we have x minus x bar, which is our mean, right? We have x values minus mean squared divided by n, that is 48 in this case. Okay, then we find the square root of what we get inside. Okay, so we need to find our mean here before we proceed, and to find our mean we use this box here. Okay, so this is our question A. We use this box. Okay, now how do we use it? Okay, in this box, the first column, this column contains a frequency. So this is our frequency. Okay, and then the summation for this frequency is 48 here. Okay, and then we have the second column. So the second column contains x values. So how do we find these x values? Okay, so I've demonstrated here. What we do, we look at the row, okay, containing our ranges, that is copies of newspapers. So we have those who had copies of newspapers from 25 to 30. Okay, so how do we get the average here, which we call our x values? So we add 25. So we are adding 25 plus 30 divided by 2. We go to the next one, 30 plus 35 divided by 2, and that's what you can see here. Okay, in the second column, this is what I was trying to show. Okay, so this is how we find the x values. Okay, so doing that to the first term, in the first range, we have 25 plus 30 divided by 2, that is giving us 27.5, right? You can see that the second we have 32.5 and so forth. Okay, now check in the last column. Okay, the last column here, we have the product. Okay, so this is the product of the frequency and the x value. Okay, so this is what we are having here. So you can see we have the frequency here is 5 multiplied by 27.5, which is our x value. Okay, that gives us 137.5. Okay, this is our fx, that is the product. And so adding up what we get here, adding up these products, we are getting the sum of this number here. Okay. Alright, so now to calculate the mean, we need to apply the formula for the mean. Okay, so what's the formula for the mean? Let me change the color so that we can you can be able to see. Okay, so we have the formula here for the mean. So we have mean is equal to, that's summation of fx, that's the product. Okay, we have the summation of the product and the summation of our frequency. So our frequency, the summation, that's 48, right? Okay, so that's 48. And then we have the summation for the product, that's we have the number right here. Okay, so this is the sum for the product, right? Okay, now dividing that, you're going to get 42. Okay, we are getting 42. So that's our 42.60. Okay, we have 42.60. That's 42.60. Okay, that's what we have. So this is our mean. Alright, then we can use our mean to calculate the frequency. So what we have here is just what we have found is just this part, the x bar. Okay, so we have found the x bar. Now we have x minus this x bar, which is our mean. So and then we need to get the summation of this. So we need to find the difference for each value, the x value. So we'll be taking the x values, we substitute here, subtracting the mean from each x value, right? And then we square that. Afterward, we are going to add everything. Okay, and then we divide by n, then we find the square root. That's the procedure. So we start with what is inside. Okay, that is open bracket x minus x bar, which is our mean. Okay, we close squared. This can be shown here. Okay, so this is what we have, what is inside the square root. So we have the x value, the first one, we subtract the mean. Okay, so this is the mean. The second one, we have this minus the mean. Okay, so those x values, they're the ones you can see here. So the first one was 27.5, 32.5. So we have to subtract the mean from each of these x values, right? Okay, so this is what we are doing here. So after doing that, you can do that on your calculator. Okay, just type everything and then press equal sign. You're going to get the answer. And so let's see, what are we getting here? So doing that, we have the first x value, okay, minus the mean squared plus the second x value minus the mean squared plus the third x value, right, minus the mean squared. So we can say this is the third x value, the second x value, this is the first, and so this goes on. Okay, now when you do that, then you sum up, you are going to get 700.07. okay, so this is what you are getting, okay, as the sum. Now this has to be divided by n, which is 48. Okay, so this is what I've done here. Okay, so that's the formula. Let's check here. So we get now the value that we have. Okay, we replace it there. Okay, and then our n is 48, right? So we get 48. Okay, then we divide this by so this 48 is the total number of participants. Okay, so we divide, when we divide, we are getting 3.82 as our standard deviation. Okay, so this is how we calculate our standard deviation. All right, now we go to the second question. So the second question there, that's 2. So here we need to draw now the smooth curve. Okay, this is the one here, right? This one. We are told to use the information in the table above to copy and complete the cumulative frequency table. Okay, so how do we do this? Okay, we can see there are some missing values here. Okay, so we need to fill this up. So how do we do that? So we add the frequency and the cumulative frequency value. How do we do that? So we have 0 from the cumulative frequency table here. Okay, so we have 0 plus 5, we get 5. 5 plus 4, we get 9, right? 9 plus 7, we get 16. 16 plus 11, we get 27. So 27 plus 12, that gives us 39, right? So that will give us 39 here. Okay, so that will give us 39. Okay, and then 39 plus 8, that will give us 47, right? So that will give us 47, and then 47 plus 1, that will give us 48, right? Okay, so we have it now. So after doing this, so we have found the missing values in the cumulative frequency table. Now we need to show these values on the graph. We need to use these values to plot the graph. Okay, so how do we do that? So we need to follow the scale that we have been given here. So we are told to use a horizontal scale of 2 centimeter. Okay, using your graph paper, each box carries 2 centimeters. Okay, so you have 2 centimeters on your graph paper to represent 10 newspapers. Okay, that is on the x-axis. So you are going to have values from 0 to 60, and then in the vertical axis, the vertical scale you're going to use is 4 centimeters for 10 vendors. All right, so we're going to have values here from 0 to 50 in the y-axis, right? Okay, so we can proceed. Go ahead, you can take out your graph paper and try to do that. Okay, so when you check, you go to your graph paper. Okay, so this is what I have here. I've already done that, but I'm going to explain so that you see how I was doing it. Okay, so in the x-axis I have the values, that is from 0 here, okay, up to 60, and you can see after every 2 centimeters I have 10. Okay, that is 10, 20, 30 up to 60. Okay, so that means each each vertical line between one point to another, that is in the x-axis, is carrying 0.1 unit. All right, now in the y-axis, so every after 2 horizontal boxes or horizontal lines, I'm having my 1. Okay, all right, so we know how to count now. So we can go ahead and make those points. So the first one there that we have in the box, we have 25,0. Okay, so you need to remember that in the x-axis you have copies of newspapers, and in the y-axis you have vendors, right? So 0 is in vendors, which is our frequency, and then 25 is in the x-axis, which is copies of newspapers. So we're having a point here, right? That's 25, okay, comma 0 in the y-axis. Next we have 30, comma 5. So 30, comma 5, you have 30 here, comma 5 in the y-axis, which is just here, right? And then we have 40, 35, 9, 40, 16. So we have 35. Okay, this is 30, so 35 is right there. Okay, so we go up, that is 35 comma 9. Okay, so 9, which is here. Okay, so this is our 9, 35 comma 9, right? Okay, again we have 40 comma, that's 40 comma 16, right? 40 comma 16. Okay, so we have 40 here. Okay, just a minute. So we have 35 comma 9 is right there. Okay, and then 40 comma 16 is right here. Okay, that's the one here, that's 40 comma 16, so this is 15, so 16 is right there. Okay, again we have 45 comma 27 at 50 comma 39. So when you follow the same procedure, you are going to have these points. Okay, you are going to have to get these points that we have, right? Okay, all these points there. Okay, and when you plot your graph, you are going to get this graph. Okay, so you have one point there and another one there, you have another one here. Okay, so as long as you understand the procedure and you do the right thing, you are going to get correct answers. Okay, so what is important is knowing how to plot the values, okay, both the x and the y values. Right, so now we can go, after we have done this, we can answer the last question. Okay, so the last question that we have is right here. So we are asked to show your method. Okay, showing your method clearly, use your graph to estimate the 50th percentile. Okay, so how do we do that? So we know how to find the percentile. Okay, so this is 3. Okay, so if you haven't watched my first video, second and the third one on statistics, make sure you pause the video, watch, and then you come and finish this one, because you need that knowledge, okay, to answer these questions. So how do we find the percentile? So we have that percent. Okay, so I'll say that number that you have. Okay, you divide that by 100, right? You multiply that by the total of participants you have. Okay, so what we have is, we want the 50th percentile over, so that will be over 100, right? Now you multiply that by our total is 48, right? Okay, so you can reduce what you have here. You can 15 to 50, that's 1, right? Again you have 15 to 100, that's 2. Okay, and then you can divide 2 into 48, right? Okay, so you can do that, or another way you can you can any procedure you can use, you still get the same answer. Okay, so when you do that, you are going to get 24. Okay, so what you are getting here is 24. Okay, so you have 1 over, that's 15 to 100, so you're having on top 1 over 2 into 48, so that's 2 into 48, that will give you 24, right? So you have 24. Now how would you find the 50th percentile? How would you show that on your graph? Because we are taught to show this on our graph. So we find our frequency, right? Okay, so we find our frequency, which is That's 24, right? Okay, so that's 24. Where is our 24? So this is our 25, so 24 is right here. Okay, so this is where we have 24. Okay, so we have 24 here. Now this 24 we need to draw a straight line. Okay, just by the show of that line until you meet your graph. Okay, so upon meeting your graph, now you can start going down. Okay, the value that you are going to get, that is our 50th percentile. Okay, so this is 35. Okay, so this is 39, right? Okay, so that's 39. So we have this, we need to indicate that this is our 50th percentile. Okay, I'll just put a P there. Okay, so what you are getting is 39. Okay, so this 39 is what is going to be your answer here. So your fifth, okay, so that's your 50th percentile. I'll just use P is equal to 39, right? 39 what? Remember, these are your vendors. Okay, all right, so this is how you solve. Now there's just something else that I want to show you. We have finished answering the questions. Now sometimes you may be asked to calculate one of these. Okay, you may be asked to calculate okay, the median. Okay, just this procedure that we have used to find the 50th percentile. Okay, we divided by 100, multiplied by total. Okay, the same procedure that you have used after finding the value here from this mathematical expression. You take that on your graph, okay, from the frequency, or from the you find that number from the y-axis, and then you obtain the answer from the x-axis, right? Okay, so that's what you can do here. So there are formulas here that you can take note of. In case you ask to find the median, you apply this one. Okay, so in this case your total is 48. Okay, you divide that into 48, then you take it on your graph, you obtain the number. Okay, again we also have this one, the lower quantile. You can be asked to calculate this. So again the formula is 1/4 multiplied by the total. Okay, after finding the value, you take that on your graph, you obtain the value. You can be asked to calculate the upper quantile. You do the same, just take note of the formula, 3/4 by total. You can be asked to find the interquartile range. Okay, you are subtracting the upper quantile minus the lower quantile. Okay, you have the semi-interquartile range, where you find the difference between the upper and the lower, then you divide that by 2. All right, yes, so this is what I wanted to explain. Okay, so you can go ahead and find some questions involving calculations on this. Okay, and then try to solve. Okay, if you are not sure, you can send that question in our WhatsApp group. Okay, I'll be able to respond. All right, so thank you so much for watching. Make sure you press the subscription button, and see you in the next video.